Like last year, one of my plays has been archived by Melbourne Theatre in London. Uh, well, my first image of the theater would be somewhere in the late 70s when I was a child. And my cousin was a student in dance. So whenever a 3-day festival would happen, we would go into the faculty from time to time. And probably the first two plays that I saw in the faculty was Paritran and one which was done by Kelkar sir. These are the two of the plays that I saw, and very much impressed by all the grandeur, the color, the subject, and things like that. Okay. So these are my first things. And at the same time, I think just before that, I had seen Praveen Joshi's one of the plays in Gandhinagar Group, which was very pompous and things like that. So I could see those two different shades over there, and that is, I think, made me decide that I would want to go into this faculty and learn about theater and things like that. Basically, I wanted to go and learn about music, but what happened in 1980s, the theater classes were shifted for the evening slot from 5:30 onwards, 5:30 to 9 o'clock, and that suited me very well. I was interested in literature and things like that. So here was a course, I think, which combined literature, which combined music, which combined acting, and you had great stalwarts. You had great stalwarts like Professor Markand Bhatt, and you had Professor Kelkar, Ramesh Bhai. All these were a part of the faculty, and they were also a part of the Gujarati theatre diaspora. A lot of at that point of time, Lok Satta was one of the leading newspapers, and a lot of things used to appear in these newspaper, and there used to be columns, and some of the columns were written by Professor Markand Bhatt and some by other people. So that gave you a lot of information about the theater, or rather, it also lured you into that kind of the glamour that existed at that point of time. And Urmila Ben at that point was also a very revered kind of an artist. We had also heard about the Triveni annual Garba thing, which used to happen in Arya Kanya, and then I think probably later in the Baroda High School, which was a star-studded kind of an event. You had Vinod Khanna and you had Acha Pare and these kind of people attending the ceremony, and the Garbas that were staged were great. They were curated by Rajni Ben and Jawahar Bhai, and I was really mesmerized, by the different performers that performed in different garbs of Gujarati costuming that happened all across. And of course, they used to also have a booklet. Trivedi used to have a booklet, and I used to wonder how they are managing. And then I became a part of that Triveni Garba thing when we ultimately shifted to the Olympic ground, and that gave me as a student the management skills, how to manage a cultural event and things like that. So what I learned in a span of say late 70s to the mid 85 86 was theater is just not about acting, but there are many other things which you need to acquire if you have to survive in theater. And I think Triveni gave me that kind of an insight very well. This apart, there were great stalwarts who came to the drama department, both because of Urmila Best as well as because of Professor Markand Bhatt. You had Yashwant Thakur and you had Dhananjay Thakur, and you had C.C Mehta was, of course, in Baroda, a wonderful program which was known as the Satyr Theatre. any graduate student who did full length play in the final exam, which was wonderful. It would be taken in front of the audience every month. That was a very good exercise. I personally, I did one play known as "Do You Know the Milky Way," and in that we had C.C Mehta and Jashwant Thakur and as my examiners, and I was really petrified of the viva and things like that. But when I went for the viva, CC said, "Chokra, tane ek પણ પ્રશ્ન પૂછવાનો નથી, તું જા." And then suddenly he said, "Best." I thought, oh my God, he said, "Go." And then he said, "Right." I said, and he said, "જો માર્કંડ, આ છોકરાનું નાટક બહુ જ સરસ થયું છે. એટલે એ તારી જવાબદારી છે કે એ ઓડિયન્સની તરફ સામે જાય કરીને." And I think in July 1983, we started Satter Theatre movement, and my play was the first play to open the Satter Theatre. Now, this is something nobody in even commercial theatre would dare to do it, and that was wonderful. And I had many shows of Do You Know the Milky Way, for the simple reason that subsequently the plays that were to be staged, the director would do two shows, and on the third show he would disappear, or he'd take a mando chu something. Then sir would call me because we were only two characters in the play, so he would call me, "Chari, kale natak karvanu che, karish?" I said, "Yes, karish." And that is how there's a lot of performances. So I can laugh about it at this point of time, but at that point of time I thought it's a challenge and I should take the challenge. So performing there continuously gave me the kind of a strength that how you react with the audience and things like that. And it was just not performed in the faculty. We also did plays outside the faculty, where there was a different kind of an audience altogether. So it was just wonderful. And it was this English play was not in competition with the Shakespeare Society that existed at that point of time. Mine was a student kind of an approach, and Shakespeare Society did exist with great stalwarts like Birje Patil and Dr. Devi and other people. They were great academicians and they were authorities of Shakespeare. So theirs was a very mature kind, and here was a very different kind of an approach. And I really gained not only recognition, but here is a boy, that kind, who knows what the craft is. And not only me, all the people who performed in Satter Theatre after me, they got an place to perform, and whatever their talent, that was, and the newspapers used to carry reviews and things like that. And all the newspapers, I remember that at that point of time, Lok Satta was a very prominent newspaper. So Lok Satta, Gujarat Samachar, Sandesh, Times and Indian Express, they would carry the reviews. Now that was a great thing when we did not have TV and social media to market the whole kind of thing. I did another play, and that play was supposed to tour. He had liked that play immensely because it was a comic, and there were songs and things like that. So he had decided, and it was only 3 characters, so he was going to travel abroad. Earlier he had traveled abroad with a 2-character play. Now he was wanting to travel with a 3-character play. So he had decided, and he called me and he said, "Ke mare લઈ જવાનું છે નાટક, લઈ જાઉં, તારી પરમિશન છે ને તારે આવીને ડિરેક્ટ કરવું પડશે." I said, "Yes, if my play is going, I have no issues altogether." And that is the breaking point where, and then I used to come to the Nivas, direct Devi Ben, Jagdish Bhai sir, and Nifa Ben used to be there. So we used to direct him, and they took the play. It was welcome over there. And the next year, Subahu Bhai was also there as a part of that. And the next year he was wanting to go, and Subahu Bhai had a job in C.C Mehta, so he couldn't take that much of leave. So he said, "Chari, America avis?" I said, "Yes, avis." So there also my point is he did not pick up, because Urmila Ben was in Mumbai. She knew many actors and artists and aspiring people to go to US. But one thing, he did not pick up any of those commercial kind of fly-by operators, and he took somebody from Baroda. So I felt it was something really very good for it. And he himself in US and all, he himself was very much interested in going to different kinds of places and look at the places. One thing is uh, another thing is, this is very personal, but I think I should mention this, that if somebody invited him, he would say કે મારી ટીમમાં 4 જણા છે, તમે બધાને બોલાવો ને તો જ હું તમારે ઘરે આવીશ. Now this was something I personally feel, because earlier I had also traveled not to US but in India as a part of the team, and then the only leader of the team would go, and we would all be in hotels or something of that sort. So, and after going there, I told him that, sir, I would want to go to libraries and things like that. So he felicitated that I would drop in the morning near the library and picked up in the afternoon and things like that. And so he understood. He understood my zest for imbibing a lot of things from the Western things. And it was great time going to all the libraries in New York and Chicago, and that is why my work even today is very different from my earlier works that I had done. But the best thing which I enjoyed, we went to the Simon Fraser University in Canada. Simon Fraser is in Vancouver. That is one of the loveliest kind of city over there, and it had a wonderful campus, and we had the opportunity of doing a Bhavai workshop over there. So I generally, when a faculty goes, he would try to project himself, but here he always introduced his fellow artists with great care and things like. So people would value the people who are accompanying. He would just not say that he's a student of MA in MS Universe. No, he would go beyond that and say he did this play and his achievement is this and he's active. So the vision of the people sitting there, they all feel that apart from him, there are people who are valuable and worth it. So we also did some comic plays where we had much larger audience over there. In places like in Florida and all, there were some places which I forget the names and things like that. But there used to be normally 200, 250 kind of a people, and the performances happened on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Saturday there would be two performances. Sunday generally one performance or two performances. It depended. But at his age, at that point of time, he was just nearing 60. The kind of energy and zest he had was something which was very remarkable. And both he along with Urmila Ben traveled. Urmila Ben was the what you call as page 3 kind of a thing. But her presence also, because she had enacted the role of Sita's mother, and everyone knew her by that. So that was an advantage also. And sometimes people would mob her and things like that. So yeah. See, for me, when I look back, it was a very hard journey. It was a very tedious kind of journey because, I used to work and then I used to do theatre. But one thing was very clear कि मुझे जो करना है मैं करूँगा, और मैं नौकरी करता हूँ इसलिए मुझे बाजार में बैठना नहीं है. So I will not get dictated by the forces of theatre. I would do my own, theatre work. And that has been very, 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 very fulfilling. Like last year, one of my plays has been archived by Melbourne Theatre in London because I did a play about cricket, and the cricket started here in Tankara, which is about 40 kilometers from Baroda, the first cricket in India. So I jotted down the theory right up to we had Ranjit Singh and Balu Palwankar. There was a clash between them. So I brought the play right up to the women's uh, journey of the play. So that has been documented, which is I find it's a great kind of a thing that I have been able to do. Even the play Kansari, which I did, it found a lot of appreciation all over India and had been performed all over India. So, I always feel that I was blessed by gurus and artists and, the way we worked on the script and things like that. But yes, all those people who come to theater, they need to understand that they have to slog and they have to work very hard because it's a single person's ideology. Unless in films you start a film and there'll be 100 people to join you, but here it doesn't here. But yes, you get 10-15 people to tide over whatever it is. But I think the journey has been really, really fulfilling. I also got the Rotary International Fellowship to travel to around 4 countries and things like that. So no, one thing I have always said that your artist is not going to be with you for a long time unlike the earlier generation. They would be there even if they age. They would be there. These artists, as there is a law in psychology, any relationship is work only for 3 years. After that, whatever, even the husband and a wife relationship after 3 years is just because of the relationship. I mean that fire, it goes away. So here also, when the artist comes now, that he is going to go away after 3 years. Number one, because in modern terms, he says कि मुझे growth नहीं मिल रहा. ये growth नहीं मिलना is the most. Now, it's very difficult for us in theatre कि उसको क्या growth दें. You can't hand over the whole organization to him. Because there is a thought behind the organ. At the most, you can give him a production or something of that sort. Right? So that is one. Second, he's also, when he does theatre, he's also trying other things which we don't know. He may be interested in something, maybe in the radio or radio jockey. People have gone from our thing to radio jockey or short film. So he has his own kind of connects outside and he's exploring. Once something clicks there, he would come and tell you कि सर मैं अभी अगला production नहीं करूँगा क्योंकि मैं जाने वाला हूँ. When we actually started sometime in at the end of not 2000 but 2010 के उधर, so a lot of people were there from students were there from IT and they were working in like L&T, etc., etc. So they have gone as on assignments abroad and they have settled there. So then you can't expect them to, and that's a career issues there. So some students are also stopgap. They want to go to Canada, they want to go to Australia. So stopgap में है तो चलो हम इन कर लेते. But the advantage they bring is they are very technically savvy, and that helps our other activities in a great way. So all what you see on social media or the management of the tours or accounting, the younger people do it. So that's a great relief for all of us who are in the higher We don't have to do anything. We just tell them, they do it. You just have to look through the whole, and that's how we have developed the whole thing. So, मैं ऐसा नहीं बोलूँगा ये younger lot, Gen Z ऐसा है ऐसा. Yes, they are different. You have to understand them. You have to give them the space.